81.
Yeah, but these aren't roll. Yeah, I was taking, this is for
41 permits.
That's 40. 9, 18.
I'm not going to vote. I don't know how does that all give you $520.
It's 4 years. Yeah, I'm taking the totals for the 4 years for 19.
No,
Divided these figures by
I don't know why you put it.
and those figures were taken right out of Steve.
I have to get it out of there. I ain't going to dump. Okay. I don't know why. Jim, did you see this? She put in a rosy basket. She's got to make copies of it yet.
Get your car running? Did you get your car running? Just like that, huh? Never fails.
Get out of it fast. I could have made copies. I went over there. I didn't think it was.
We'll get in that, our discussion on the board. We'll get into that. We'll get in that, our discussion on the board. What we're going to do is talk about the
Well, I just showed it to you. She had it. If you need it, I'll give it to you. Yeah, you should make it. Yeah.
should be right back in a minute. We'll go with it.
He says it's preliminary. It was preliminary. It has to be okay. But it's just preliminary. That's preliminary. Preliminary. Is that right? I remember going there. I didn't pay attention. Yep.
I can't tell you where it was.
That's per thousand.
I will not end that.
You better not.
Okay.
Okay. If I can have your attention, please. I will call a special meeting. Please. Carl, this moment, please. I will take and call a special meeting. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Best?
Aye.
Counselor Anthony? Aye. Counselor Greco?
Here.
Counselor Marshall?
Here.
Counselor Powlitz?
Here.
Okay. And now I'll call the meeting for the public hearing on Granby Local Law Number 4. In preparation for that, I provided you with a printout of some of the information that would be involved in a assessor appointment versus a status of 3 present assessors. And the primary concern the board has in getting to this point is that by information that we have, let me read the local law so we'll understand what we're talking about. A local law to provide for one assessor in the town of Granby pursuant to and under Article 3, Title 2 of the Real Property Tax Law, be it enacted by the Granby Town Board as follows. Section 1, there should be one assessor in the town of Granby to be appointed by the town board for a term of 6 years. Qualification of applicants, training, and class certification and compensation of the assessor shall be determined by the town board and shall at all times be in compliance with Article 3, Title 2 of the Real Property Tax Law or other applicable law of the state of New York. Section 3, the term of office shall commence on the first day of January 1998. Section 4, the term or terms of the office of all assessors presently in office.
Excuse me. Could you slow it down?
Sure.
For the benefit of everyone.
The term or terms of office of all assessors presently in the office or in the office December 31st, 1997 shall terminate on that date. This local law shall be subject to mandatory referendum and shall take effect if and when approved by the electorate of the town of Granby. A special election to be held on the 22nd day of December 1997. And the local law and the resolution was approved on the 9th day of October, and 4 board members present voted in favor, and Mr. Marshall wasn't present that day at the time. That being said, the public hearing today for consideration of local law number 4, 1997, the sole assessor, represents a decision by the town board after requesting since May certain information in certain areas of concern affecting the total assessments in the town of Granby and their place on the rolls. If the assessments are not on the rolls, they don't have any impact at all. It doesn't mean you got over-assessed. It doesn't mean you're under-assessed. It just means there's no assessment on the roll relevant to the items we're talking about. Inequity of property values affects all properties that are on record. A loss of $2 million can be compounded to $250,000 loss of potential revenues over 3 years. Any action today, December 22nd, 1997, in the affirmative, will impact the tax rate of 1999 for county, school, and town taxes. A delay past 1997 will result in an impact on the assessment for the year 2000. The town board has reviewed this crucial decision and offers it as an option to correct the problem that exists. The question that will be confronted to you when you get all done, sooner or later, can you afford to maintain the present system if over a period of 3 years you have a potential of $250,000 in revenue that is not in the tax stream that affects county, school, fire districts, town, highway, total. The parcel in town of Granby in 1993 were 2,711. In 1997, they're 2,885. With that being said, I put a list over there for people who want to speak to sign their name, and we take it down the list appropriately. Everybody have a chance. We'll go down the list and we'll go back over it again. Anybody else wants to speak, we're glad to do it. There's no problem on that. The primary thing that's interesting here tonight is the fact that if we don't take action in some manner, the delay will cost you, in terms of dollars that are available, to reduce the tax dollars that every person has to pay in 1999. With that being said, Madam Clerk, can you get me that pad back there? If anybody signed up, we'll ask them about it, and then we'll go from there. Okay. And again, this is a informative session. It's for your opinion to be voiced about a sole assessor. Upon your statement, if there's any question you want to ask of the board we'll take and try to reply to you in a reasonable manner, if we have it. And then we'll go on to the next person. Mary Kelly, please.
Well, first off, I'm in favor of one assessor, but not at this time. I was on the grievance board 20 years ago and less, and we had the same problem in this town that we have today, with parcels being missed and not being able to find them on the tax roll. So I can't see, if nothing has changed in 20 years, why we got to change it in 2 months. I think we should wait for the next year. It's not going to affect our taxes we pay this year anyway,
Well,
because taxable status day is 1st of March.
right.
So nothing's going to change that's going to change our tax bill that we're going to pay in January.
Can I just say something's happened in 20 years? In 1990, we paid a bill for $95,000 for a data collection and reval. That was a sum of activity that was done in 1988 by the town board. We paid the $95,000 in debt. All of our assessments that we're working with today are reflective of the 89 base value. It takes about 90 days to go through this process. So if you start today and you can have a single assessor in place as of January 1, you will be up for the 1999 tax rolls, 98 roll for 99. If you wait till after the first year and go through the 90 days, you'll still have the same problem, and you'll be into the year 2000 before you get the problem resolved. And the circumstances is that if we have $2,300,000 worth of value that's out there, that's not on the rolls, that totals between school, town, county, and all them, it's about $75,000 annually. The $75,000 annually, if we don't have on the rolls for 98 and 99, is now $150,000 that we've accumulated on the same dollars. They're just not there. In 1990, when I was confronted with a bill for the reval that was done, the data collecting and reval that was done, we had some of the same problems we're talking about right now, in the fact that now we had property values that had been determined by the contractor, and whether or not the assessors agreed with the values was a key decision that had to be made. Upon consideration of that, with 2 weeks left to go before the taxable status date, the assessors at that time said they would accept the Honeycutt values. Because it was 250 properties, they said may be up in jeopardy as to value, true value. The circumstance we had was in 2 weeks the assessors at that time, supposedly working with a contractor, could not complete 250 properties in 2 weeks' time. Just not possible to give them a value. It isn't the 2 months. That's not the issue. The issue is timeliness gets you into the taxable assessment date so you can meet the 1999 thing, and you won't get 100% of this done. You'll get what you can get done because you would have a full-time person doing it. Now, it just so happens January 1 to March 1st is the busiest time assessors have.
They should be on the road for 2 months.
Well, they can be, but possibly not be able to, because they have other work to do. They've got to get ready for exemptions. They've got to get ready for other things that's happening in the office, and there's a lot more to it than just doing that. But the point of it is, it's the timing of it. There is no way that you can get enough tax dollars, revenue, from other sources to offset this loss. There's a loss here. There's no way you're going to get the money from someplace. Sales tax ain't going to pick it up. State aid is not going to pick it up. It's our own problem. And the problem is, if you don't face it today, you'll face it in 1999. But as you face it in 99, you get caught with a later date for implementation. And it's
Wasn't it faced in 1990? Well, this took place in 1989.
because you had, in 1990, you had the values established.
Who did we have for a supervisor in 1990?
Jim Best. Has nothing to do with assessments.
Where was the town board?
Has nothing to do with assessments.
No, but you can tell whether the assessors are working or not.
Well, that may or may not be at pleasure, but the point of it is they're elected officials, right?
So are you.
So am I, but they're elected officials. You have no more say over elected official other than the fact you can challenge Article 78.
Did you challenge it?
I've had my times when I took and removed people from office, yes.
And why didn't you do it at this point?
Pardon?
Why haven't you done it up to this point?
Because we inquired from the assessors in May to take and accomplish the job we had to have done.
Why did it come to light in May?
Because it's obvious in May, it was taxable status date was set and we had a problem.
When did you recognize the problem?
We recognized the problem in 1990 when I first come here because you had the same problem.
We're 2 years
You're repeating a circuit.
We're 2 years behind our building permits.
Well, that may be, but that's not the supervisor's job. You will find that out. See that.
Why don't you go on with the next person, Jim?
So it's not my...
Mr. Holt, did you want to speak to it, Ray?
Yeah, I got my name now.
Okay.
I wasn't going to, but when I saw this, you ready for me?
Yes?
I wasn't going to, but when I saw this, I want to clarify a couple of things, question a couple of things that are on this list. Under hours, you got 20 hours a week, times 3, makes 60 hours a week. You got a chairman that makes twice as much as the other two.
Yeah, that's a
Naturally,
mistake.
the other two aren't one of those 20 hours a week things, chairman.
Excuse me, Jim, that's a mistake there. That should be 20 hours a month.
20 hours a month is what it should have been there. They just didn't, the girl typed it up to me. That's one.
That's one. Of course, the salary, that's all total, between the three, that's
Yep.
11,500. Okay, down under New York State certification. Under sole assessor, you got certification prior to appointment. Now, are you going to stick to that rule, or
That's
having somebody with the most experience but not state certified?
the town board will take and set the criteria. The town board in 1998 will make the appointment. The town board in 1998, that will be making that appointment. They will be looking at it before that time comes. They will set the criteria.
I'm not necessarily going to stick to that certification.
I prefer they did.
But you're going to end up with somebody outside the town of Granby, I believe.
But what we're looking for is to get the job done. That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Let's say nobody applies, let's say certified.
They'll have to take and make in consideration for whatever they want to do. The board will have to make a decision. Yeah. The criteria we're working is to try to get the best we can for the money.
All right, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay, now our cost for certification. You've got 5 one-week courses plus transportation, and that isn't a cost to the town.
No, that's the state pays for it. There's just a process of going through it.
The town pays for it.
Yeah, right.
We pay for it.
But
The state doesn't pay for it, then the assessors come back on the
Right.
town. Those 5 weeks are paid
by
transportation
this,
by the state, and no
Right.
cost to the town.
right.
Okay, I'm experienced, I've pre-trained through certification, I think that's the other question.
Yep.
You got no under continuing education requirements for 3 assessors, but you're saying no, it's not a requirement.
No, but you would take training.
9 out of 10 assessors will take extra training, which
Right,
means
right.
they're going to say state certified for a year, or still taking
Right.
courses, seminars when I can.
Yep.
Keep up my education, but it's not a requirement.
Right. But it's just that, the point of it is, it's not a requirement, so you just say no. But normally people would do that, right? Because you want to stay up with the program. Okay. Francis Leopard.
Yes, I don't see why, if you have 3 assessors, I don't see why we have properties that are not assessed, especially new houses. I know new houses myself, I see them every day, and I know they're not assessed. I would think that would be the first priority of all your assessors when they first go out, rather than working on other people. That's where they lose a lot of money, because there's a lot of properties that are not assessed in the town of Granby. And nobody seems to care.
Well, this is
All
what
they
the,
worry about is the people that got on the paper that they can just raise their taxes.
that's the issue right here. That's what we're talking about right now.
That's right. And
We're
if three
saying that
people
right now.
can't do it, how is one person going to do it?
Because it's a full-time job. The incentive is to make their pay.
You got anybody in mind?
I won't have anything to do with it.
Does anybody have anybody in mind who they might put in there?
Not that I know of. And nothing, I don't even do it.
That's what I want to know.
It'd be advertised just like for the
It would be advertised for the position with criteria that we're looking for. There's criteria that's in the state law that says a person shall meet certain requirements and so on.
Advertise in Syracuse and other papers,
Any place they would advertise it.
not just in the town.
Oh, no, we're not just in the county. You would
Also
be,
the New
you'll
York
have
State.
it would be advertised so we get a very good mix of people. Hopefully we'd have 8 to 10 people applying. I would think that you'd want to have as many people as you could get just to take
Who do
and
they get the certification from?
State of New York Equalization Board.
Do they have to take that?
These people presumably are going to buy somebody who's already certified if it's possible.
How long does it take to get that?
But hopefully the guy's got it, or a lady's got it. It takes,
I mean, if you were going to go...
well, you have 3 years from the time you're elected to get
But
it.
those are just the classes. They don't have any schooling, you could go and take that?
Well, yeah, but the point is, it's organized by the State Equalization Board, and they put the time schedule up, and you have 3 years to get all the courses in.
Right, but can't you go someplace and take that faster if you want to?
I don't know about,
Nobody has that? I
Well-
would think if we have a lot of one assessors in this state, that there would be a school you could go and take that.
well, very possibly be, but I'm not looking into the training program they got for it. I'm just saying that we would be advertising, hopefully we would get response from people who are already qualified. We wouldn't have to worry about the training. That's the priority you're looking for, I would think. You'd want to have somebody already trained, so you don't have to pay for that or delay that. Because when you start on January 1, 1997, or 1998, if that's what's happened, you certainly don't want to be dragged down by some inconvenience called training.
How are you going to look into how these people are certified?
That's
Put their requirements on.
Well, the
You
state,
have a list-
Yeah.
You have a list of,
there's a criteria here by the State Equalization Board that says certain things, okay? It has to be there. It'll be the board that's going to consider it for,
could I have a copy of that?
I can get it for you later. This is only a copy, I can have it for you later, yeah. Yeah. Brenda?
I thought that was a sign-in sheet.
That's all. Okay, Brenda.
I have lots of stuff.
Okay. Mr. Keeney?
Yes, good evening. A couple of questions in reading through your data sheet, or your information sheet. Corrective action, costly revaluation.
Pardon?
Say that again?
It says corrective action at the bottom, the costly revaluation.
Well, reevaluation is, right now, the last time we had a reevaluation of $95,000, whatever. It's so much a parcel to do it, 2,800
Is
parcels.
that the only option that was determined by this board, is the reval?
No, that's the corrective action you would take right now. If you don't do this kind of thing, hopefully you get by without you'd spend the money on the sole assessor, and hopefully you wouldn't have to do the reevaluation.
Yeah, but we have two assessors in office right now. We have a newly elected assessor, and we haven't given that team, that group of elected officials, a chance to correct the problems that are out there. And that's why we have the election process.
Well, the elective process is appropriate except for one problem. The problem is you're talking right now of possibly $150,000 that's going by the board that nobody's gotten. By the time you start correcting this thing, it could be up to $250,000, and you haven't accomplished what you want. To get the dollars get the tax assessments on the rolls.
I understand.
Is the first thing, and to get the revenue from it is the second thing.
I understand.
But more important is to start the action so that you have it happening to correct the problem without getting into the reval. You may have to have the reval anyway when you get done if you find inequities in property values.
I understand.
And right now, what you're having happen is people here sit on the Board of Assessment Review will tell you that the challenge is not so much of the inequity as much as the fact that I know I'm going to take my house and I'm challenging you on my house because that house over there was never assessed.
You obviously went through a root cause analysis to determine the corrective action. Could you kind of walk me through your root cause analysis of what went wrong in the assessor's office and why we're at this point in history with, at the end of a term, that we're all of a sudden going to go to a sole assessor versus waiting until the newly elected officials of this town can reevaluate what has taken place and try to put in place corrective actions on a least cost basis and allow the electoral people out there to determine, along with the town board, if the assessors can or cannot do the job.
Well, this hearing here is to establish a mandatory referendum on December 22nd, with electors would take and make that decision whether or not you want to go single assessor or stay the same. The question that has to be answered in this is how we determined that this was a problem was the fact that we had X number of building permits that hadn't been worked on.
When was that discovery made?
Oh, that's been made for a year and a half. We've had problems with it, and in May we put
Why now are we taking corrective action in your mind?
because of the town board. You got a job to do.
Why wasn't it done a year and a half ago then?
Because we were offered the fact we'd have it squared away.
So we've lost,
Excuse me, I didn't hear the answer.
we've lost more money based on a lack of movement by this board.
Only from the standpoint the board give the assessors the opportunity to do their job. In May, we asked for a correction on that. We inquired about it. We were promised certain things, and now it hasn't come to pass. And this point, right this moment, the town board has, by 4 votes in favor, the decision to take and go to a referendum on single assessor.
And based on what I understood when you read the local law number 4, that position will be filled when?
On January 1, 1998.
Well, not exactly on January 1.
Why not?
The organizational meeting, the new board would have
They are.
the organizational meeting is
I
being.
have a question.
But the point is, it's their board.
You can't just hire somebody overnight. You gotta get a,
This is a
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. We'll take care of the advertisement. You'll have the system in place for you on the January 1.
Jim, difference what the advertisement is. You can take full-page ads if you want. People are on holiday. December is not the time of the year when you hire people to do a job. That's absolutely not.
Do you understand? Do you understand the critical?
I'm not happy with it.
Well, that may be so. We may not agree on different concepts, but the thing that's important here, do you understand that to get the timing so you can get yourself into 1999 tax roll?
These should have been in 1997's tax rolls. You knew about it back then.
Who?
You did.
No. We're talking May. May is after the fact.
I didn't know about it, me personally, until May of this year.
I just heard a couple minutes ago, it was a year and a half ago.
He said that.
Well, we've had a constant conversation about the building permits being processed and things like that, but that's continuously in every office we've got. 1990, the day you had the reval and you still had 3 part-time assessors, was a critical day for you. Because you had to reval. You paid $95,000 to get the values up where they belong, and now you're subject to part-time people for the following 7 years. Am I correct, Rosie? It's 7 years since then.
Mr. Best, the board doesn't know half of the things that you know.
I don't know.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Have you
you
sat
said a
down?
year and a half ago, we don't know about it.
I believe I have the floor. Have you sat down with the 3 assessors as a board and determined what the problem is and why this is so behind?
Yes, sir.
And can you give me that reason?
No, that's confidential between us. We sit down with the people and ask them about the circumstances.
Well, you can touch
It's
on it.
us with our people. I have no reason to get in that discussion. It wasn't, it was between the people there. They can tell you what the problem is.
But you can't. But Mr. Keating has the floor.
We were asking them to come up with an answer to the problem we saw there, and we've asked for it. It didn't come to pass, and the decision by the board as of October 9th was to take and consider the solo session.
I think we should.
I don't know if they heard that clear. I don't want to interrupt, and I don't want to override Jim. We had a meeting, I believe in May, we had a problem with the assessor. We had a meeting in May with the assessors. We discussed the problem, they discussed it, they said they would give us a report, and I believe, don't hold me to the date, Ray can probably correct it, they were supposed to give us a report September the 15th, and things are supposed to be taken care of. They weren't, So then the board decided to go this road. And that's the best answer without getting into personalities that I can give the public, me personally.
If we go to sole assessor, if it goes to referendum, by town law, can we go back to elected officials at some point in history?
No.
In 1998, I think you can go back to sole assessor, or elected assessor if you want to.
You think, or do you know?
I think. I just got the law. It says July 31st, I think it is, of 1998, towns can go back to elected assessors.
It isn't in this law, right?
No, it's in this law here, but
Then why don't you give the new board the opportunity to try to work with the 3 assessors to see if we can get this corrected within 90 days? I might want to commit myself.
well, the point of it is that we're talking about $75,000 this year, $75,000 the following year, and if you take a moment and stand there, you'll see right now the new STAR program come out for senior citizens. They've got a $12,500 exemption going for them. And those people are coming over there right now looking for, they're putting the paperwork in for the $12,500 exemption.
I don't blame them.
Hold on just a second. They're doing that. In the same process, if the town of Granby isn't providing the base services needed to protect the interests of the value, then the $12,500 they're going to get over here is just a waste. I mean, it's just going on a school tax, and that's all there is to it. You're already going to lose some of it because you haven't got all the properties on. The town board made a decision to take and consider the sole assessor in a mandatory referendum, December 22nd, to resolve the problem. That's what their issue is right now.
Jim, are those properties that are not assessed now going to be on the roll this year?
No, ma'am, they're not assessed. They won't be on the rolls this year. They'd be on the roll, if they're properly documented, they'd be on the roll for 1999.
Why?
Why? Because they'd be put on the roll. If they're not on the rolls now,
They've been there for 2 years.
if they're not on the rolls now, the assessments, the 10 of the rolls are turned, the final rolls are turned in July 1st. So them are set, okay? You have the circumstances where you have properties change. The properties are on the rolls, but anything that's new that hasn't been assessed will not be on the roll for the 1998 rate. To get it into 1999, there's got a lot of work to be done between now and the tentative date of the final rolls of March.
You're telling me that the assessments they make on everybody,
No, the ones on everybody else.
January to June, will not be in, they will
No.
not be in that year.
No, the final roll they put in will be based on, Brenda, what's my number, Ray? The final roll is on July 1st, and that includes everybody that's had their reviews on assessment
As of March 1st.
as of March 1st.
Deadline to get the information into the county is
Right.
March 1st.
Okay.
And then your January 1990 tax bill will reflect what is on the final tax roll for 1998.
Which is what'll be in July, right?
Right.
Okay, so what you have sometime between that final tentative, that March date and the final date in July, anything in there would be put on. But the point of it is, anything that was agreed as part of that group of numbers too, because that's what they're working with. If there's anyone here that can think of another way to get ourselves on timing into the 1999 tax rolls, that's the critical thing, because you only got so much time to get this thing done. And even under this circumstances, you may not get 100%, but it's better to get 80% or 50% of what's not on the rolls right now on there. If you don't do it at all, then that's what I'm saying. If you put it off another year, you've lost a year and you compound that number.
Well, that's not going to happen even if we have one assessor, right? There's no guarantee.
No, you would take the one assessor with appropriate support would take and follow through with that and see if they couldn't get what they have to get in for that taxable date. It's going to be a job.
Point of order. Point of order. I have the floor. I'd like to ask another question. You're saying with the correct support. Now, you're talking more than $25,000, which was put in the preliminary budget. You're talking another.
No.
You're talking another.
No, we got $25,000. There's nobody, we haven't done it. The town board in 1998 will make a decision what they need for support to that. We haven't put any money in there for it. No, we put in 20, we put in, the town board in 1998 will make a decision as to what they need for support to that
Well, how
person.
much we'll spend out of that 25,000, yeah.
You probably need,
Or any more you can
probably
do
need
it.
a clerk to work with the.
Well, you might at the
You're going to need this, you're going to need.
Right this moment, the status that we're at is to have the opportunity to provide for the sole assessor for 1998 to try to catch up and meet that 99 deadline so you can have a great majority of these numbers in. Now, that's not to say you couldn't have 3 assessors going, but if you take 3 assessors, and my experience has been from 1990, okay, in no disrespect, we've had 15 different assessors in 10 years. 15 different ones. So what you get into, by the time you have a cycle, people fall out, you get another one trained, you've got a part-time project going here, and you've got a town with $170-some million worth of value. You have 300 changes in property alone in 1996 that have to be accounted for in the transfers. The transfers and the building permits. That's one a day, if you figure the days that the people could work. You have people coming through the door for this reason, that reason. There's not this, I mean, I just can't take and tell you what the assessors do because I'm not in that office. I don't want to be in that office. I never wanted to be in that office. It's intricate. It's a responsibility I had nothing to do with. The kicker to the whole deal is we have made the effort since May to correct the problem. The end result of that effort, and I've told Mr. Holtz and I've told Brenda, this is nothing personal, it's business. We got too much money on the rolls. And in the interim, we've negotiated with Niagara Mohawk, we've negotiated with some apartment buildings, and we made out pretty good. We got our money back on the rolls this year from Niagara Mohawk. We lost $300,000, had to pay it back. There's $1 million off the rolls last year. You got another $1 million coming back on the rolls this year from Niagara Mohawk. $650,000, something like that from Niagara Mohawk. We knocked them out of the box on what they wanted to take us for. We got you back online there. We have apartment buildings come in and challenge it. And the sad part of it is, in 1998 and 1999, you'll be challenged on values. And when you lose on those challenges because you've still got the same problem in equity, then you're going to have an equalization rate drop that's going to mean taxes have got to go up to offset. Your proportionate rates with other school districts and the school districts in this county all be affected. The timing's everything.
You know, Jim, I'll tell you, one of our biggest problems, people that take the assessor job do not know how much schooling they have to take or what it amounts to. And I think that is why a lot of people were very dissatisfied when they got the job they didn't want to get.
Well,
And I think that should be public knowledge.
well, the biggest problem I see is no matter what you do, if you say you want to take and give full value to the assessor's office and keep the 3 assessors and make it so it's really interesting for them to be there, you're going to pay them something. Mr. Holt is retired. He sits there and does his job for us. Brenda Fraser worked full-time for us for 3 years. I can't even ask to take into account for the dollars. She only got paid $4,000 or $5,000, and she was full-time 5 days a week. The problem you have here is you can't do it part-time at no salary. So if you tell me you want to take and keep 3 elected assessors, then I'm going to suggest to you that $10,000 a whack would be a good number. That's $30,000 a year, and you got part-time people again. And you won't get full-time service. You have to look at this from a business standpoint that we are looking at losing $75,000 cash over all these taxing districts, and that $75,000 compounded every year. You're not getting them on the rolls, builds up, and when you start talking $250,000 that isn't being used to pay the operating costs for school, town, and county, then we have a major problem. And the result of this is nothing personal. It's strictly a deal that this is where the town of Granby is now. When you sit here and you look and you relate to if you're watching Town of Valney over there, they had a 41% increase for a lot of reasons. The point of it is, they did a data collecting. They also had to consider reval. As far as I know, they didn't do it.
My understanding is that Honeycutt is no longer allowed to practice in our state.
Honeycutt has nothing to do with the issue.
I think I was here.
That has nothing to do with it. The Honeycutt is another place. Yes, Paul. It's coming.
For one thing, Jim, you're not going to get an assessor that's going to work for 20 or 25,000 with them credentials that he's got to have. No way.
The board will have to make that decision.
At
They
least
can't
double
work for
that.
$25,000.
I'm not, no,
Oh, yes.
no, it may be, but I don't see that.
Credentials, no.
I don't see that. That's not the circumstances I see.
You wait.
Where are all these building permits for all these new properties?
Pardon?
Where are the building permits on this property that's missing?
There.
For the
They're there. But you got, in the assessor's office.
Why weren't they addressed?
They are. They're being addressed as reasonable as they can do it, but they have other things going at the same time. They got to, when I tell you you got 300 parcel changes in 1 year, that's just stuff coming through the mill. That has nothing to do with exemptions. It had nothing to do with these gentlemen coming over with their paperwork and somebody else coming over with their paper, seniors coming over asking about this. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's the workload. It's the demand to provide the service.
the assessor's office to make copies and what have you for people that come in. I was in the assessor's office today, and that gentleman has to spend time making copies for everyone. If they had a clerk can make copies.
The question is, like I'm saying, what role do you want to take? If you want three elected assessors and pay them a salary, give them what you got to have to support that, that's great, but you're going to be in a higher dollar, and you still got to get them trained, and you got to get them updated all the while. And you can't, all I'm saying to you is part-time is tough duty for people to hang on to and do.
But all I can say is you're not going to get one person to do 3 people's job for $25,000 a year.
I'm not sure that's not true.
You're going to pay at least 40.
I'm not sure that's not true. But the town board on the date they want to do the hiring will make that consideration what they've got to pay. Yes, ma'am.
How many hours would you consider part-time? What would you?
What do we consider part-time?
Yes. I mean, the public knowledge is that some people have never come in.
20-hour part-time service is 20 hours a month.
20 hours a month. Well, 5 hours a week. What's 20 hours a month? How could you possibly accomplish that?
That's
5 hours a month.
That's the thing of it is that's 60 hours, and that's what.
Why haven't you increased the number of hours they should be working?
No, we had, like I got done telling you, in 1990 through 93 or 94, we had 5 days a week coverage here.
Why
People,
do you only have 5 hours?
because we were paying part-time salary, the person was willing to put the time in, there are other things going on in life, and they went on.
But if you're losing money because they don't accomplish the work, why isn't it not paid to give them more hours and more money?
Because of simple reason, now you're talking about...
Jim, you can't set the hours.
No, these people are elected, and they...
I was working for
excuse me.
approximately $1.98 per hour. In those 4 or 5 years that I worked in that office, if I was short maybe 10 building permits per year, the town was lucky.
So you're not... Time to change...
I was giving this town my life.
Time to change the value of the town is $170 million. In 1950, that's the total value. In 1990, the total value was probably $158 million. We're down about, we had growth. And the growth has taken place irrespective of what anybody else has done about it. It's just happening. The situation is when you get 300 property changes in one method or other in a year, 1996, 300. When you have property changes of that magnitude, you have the transfers and the building permits, plus the other magnitude of stuff that's going on. The people get behind, and when they get behind, it becomes more difficult to get yourself organized to get ahead. The question that I'm faced with as a town board member, looking at this problem is, what is the avenue of attack? The avenue of attack is make it happen so you get the jump for 1999. You can't wait, because you wait too long, you get beyond that taxable status date, March 1st, and then August or July 1st has gone by, then you're in another year. You don't have that privilege. If the town board doesn't do anything else but do its job, then they've done what's supposed to happen. The point of who's going to be hired or not going to be hired, that's some other people's problem. Yes, ma'am.
If this local law does go to vote, how will it read? Will it stipulate
It will read,
hours, the whole work?
no, this, here I go. The local law that will be going to vote provide one assessor in the town of Granby pursuant to and under Article 3, Title 2 of the Real Property Tax Law. And it goes down through, it's one assessor. Their qualifications are identified here, the term of office, the day of the term of office, and in this particular instance, it's mandatory. But the hours to be placed, the salary to be placed is all negotiable, and the people who's going to be sitting here in 1998 will make that decision. That won't have nothing to do with me. The point that's important is timing. If you don't do it now, you lose a whole year. A whole year is not $75,000 now, it's $150,000.
And I make the argument that I think the new board can take care of that problem within the time frame in order to meet that deadline.
Well, they may be, but the board right now has put it on the table as a referendum.
Repeat that, Don, again. What was that statement again?
I think the new board, when they go into office, will be able to handle the problem by the March 1 deadline. That's what we're talking about.
Without the local law being enacted.
Absolutely.
You mean with 3
Okay.
part-time assessors?
Yes.
I think it'd be awful hard to find a certified person in 2 months to take that position, Jim.
Well, you'll have your opportunity to find that out,
Yeah,
Ms.
you
Morris.
can't just pick
Can I
anybody.
ask a question?
Yeah.
If I understand correctly, both these individuals could be an applicant for that full-time assessors because they are qualified?
I don't know.
They are qualified?
They're qualified to the extent they have these qualifications. If they meet their criteria here, they could, yes.
Right. So could I ask them a question? Do you feel that one person under this system can handle this office? And since you both know it, can one person handle that? You can answer it if you want to. I'm not putting that on the spot. I don't need to. You're both qualified, you're both eligible, but if you were given that job tomorrow,
I will answer that. I feel that this town needs a sole assessor. It needs one person that's responsible for doing the work in that office, and with the support, like it or not, there's going to have to be a clerk in that office, because we do need someone to make copies. We do need someone to answer the phones, but we also have to have that sole assessor out on the road doing the data collection. We can't be available to the public, which elected us as elected officials. We can't be in the office to support them what they want us to be there and still be out on the road doing the data collection. There was a lot of times that I was there every day during the day, and I was going out in the evenings and doing data collection. I was going out on Saturdays doing data collection. I was going out on Sundays doing data collection. But I was also in the office the majority of the time before. But I feel with this salary and the support, a clerk, even a part-time clerk in that office that can be open to the public, would be an asset to this town.
What could one person do it?
One person could do it.
I thought both of you had said that you spent most every day there, and you can't do it.
No.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt just a minute? And I don't mean to take, I'm glad to have everybody question them people out there so on. The focus of this meeting is to make everybody aware of what is potentially could happen by having the discussion so we go to the referendum in December for this sole assessor. It's the intent of the people on this board to make the thing happen so the board that will be here in 1998 will hire, do everything that's got to be done, they'll have their salary, they do everything they want with it.
No, the intent is not to give us the option to do that.
Do what?
Either look at sole assessor or try to work out the situation with 3.
No, the town board right now has made a decision as sole assessor. No. The town board right this moment has made a decision that the sole assessor is responsible act to take. That's the town board's job.
Then I would be up to the voters.
That's right, on December 22nd.
And a public hearing, who does the listening? The town board or the audience?
The town board.
Well, why don't you be quiet and let the audience speak?
I'm just trying to explain the answer when they ask me.
Jim, can I ask a question?
I'd like to ask you some questions. And,
Go ahead.
I don't know whether sometimes I'm stepping on somebody's toes here.
It's okay.
I'll yield the floor to Mr. Hubbard. I'll yield the floor to Mr. Hubbard.
I go back quite a few years, and if I'm not mistaken, of course, occasionally I've accused you of being a socialistic person instead of a Republican, but is this not the third time that you've tried to make this happen?
No, this is the second time I've had the opportunity to put it on the ballot. The first time it was mandated in 1971 to put it on the ballot if you wanted to keep 3 elected assessors. It was
That was a
mandated.
mandate then?
That was mandated.
So then you won't, this is your second approach.
No, this is my first time that I've sit there and said this is they actually should take. I've never been on a board where they did it before.
Well, this is the third time it's come up for...
Yes, it's because people who had the responsibility to take and consider the assessment's office have taken that stand. They've said, after they've looked at the problem, they've looked at what you got to have, they have decided that you need to have somebody responsible full-time. That's what the board has done.
But the point is that you're asking us to, this is kind of walking on thin
That
ice.
doesn't make a difference. Can't fall in.
You're asking us to put the decision in the hands of this town board, which does not have a good reputation in the past.
Well, I don't know about this town board having a good reputation.
I think that if we had to raise the hands here, that probably I would have a lot of people agree with it.
I think they're pretty biased, so that's okay.
But the point is, you're going back and telling about how much money we're losing. You rammed this thing down our throats, and I was...
When?
You rammed this thing down our throats when you went to 100% assessment in a matter of just a few months or something. It cost a lot of us a hell of a lot of money when we had Honeycutt come in here.
Well, no, I wasn't here.
These things that have not been adjusted at this point. Now, you're trying to tell us that we're losing a lot of assessment.
No.
Well, you'll just listen a minute. That's your position. You're trying to tell us that you're losing a lot of assessment. How many people live in this town of Granby that is overassessed and has been because they didn't challenge Honeycutt when you went 100% valuation? Everybody that the veterans got hurt, the farmers got hurt. Seriously, I'm talking about. I'm not talking in a little penny pinching deal here and there. Because you pushed that thing onto us so fast that we didn't even have time to catch our breath. Because we was already, the assessed, the reval had already been done. If we didn't do it right now, we was going to lose it, and have to pay for it all over again, and so on. And it ended up costing me a hell of a lot of money, and I suppose it did some of the other people too. But you're trying to tell me that we're losing so much assessment. Are you also trying to tell me that the assessment in Oswego County is higher than it was 3 years ago?
I don't know about
2
Oswego
years
County.
ago, or 4 years ago?
I don't know about Oswego County. I don't know about Oswego County.
Well, how about property values? You do know enough, Jim, to know that the property values in the county are not up, they're down.
But I'm not into the county. I'm in the town of Granby.
Well, the town of Granby's in the county.
But the point of the town of Granby values are 178 million.
You're talking about the number of parcels being added. I'm talking about the value of individual parcels. The value of individual parcels cannot be sold today for the same price that they were purchased 3 years ago.
Will you let me talk now?
Certainly.
Okay. The values that's on here are 1989 values, right? That's what we refer to, right? The values...
We're still all over assessed then, if that's the case.
It may be. So you do a reval, do a data collection and a reval, and you'll bring those things down proportionally. Correct, Brenda? The dollar amount that we're valued at, okay, relevant to the rest of the county, is a plus. We're in pretty good shape against the rest of the county.
We sure are.
Well, we are. Proportions, when they proportion the tax rate in the county, we come out pretty good. The problem you have is, if you fail to meet the responsibility of keeping your values, whatever they are, accurate, you get challenged in the...
We can put up a building today, and when it's assessed for more than what it costs us to put the thing up.
I'm not an assessor. That's the assessor's job.
I'm not accusing you of making
Well,
that happen. I'm saying that that's the condition that exists.
Well,
I don't think
the
the
issue...
town of Granby needs a sole assessor. It might be nice, but I do business in a few towns other than Granby, and I'm telling you that personalities get pretty damn involved when it comes to sole assessors, whether they should or whether they shouldn't. And And of course, I'm not always one to be real tactful, of course, and that's probably got something to do with it. However, that's the case.
I think you're pretty tactful.
Pardon?
I think you're pretty tactful. You get your point across.
But personalities are not as apt to be involved with 3 assessors as they are with 1 assessor.
Can I ask you this question? A very simple question. If there's $75,000 cash that affects these 4 or 5 different taxing entities that isn't on the rolls, okay? Isn't on the rolls. That's cash now. That's not reducing your costs at all. Them people are without any assessment relevant to your assessment because they aren't caught and not caught, they aren't recorded. When they're recorded, they help reduce your actual costs in the supporting government.
Apparently, what I said just now went over your head. I said that there's as much property over-assessed as what we're losing, and probably a lot more so. So if you get this idealistic 1 assessor, sole assessor in there, and he does a perfect job, or she does a perfect job, then a lot of us are going to have our assessments reduced.
I hope you have. I want mine reduced. I want mine reduced. What difference does it make?
Worse off than they were before.
We're not talking about the act of assessment. We're talking about whether or not you take and have a sole assessor replace a 3 assessor.
The problem does not lie with the assessors near as much, in my estimation, as it does with the building permit.
Well, it's all part of the system. And, you know, all I can tell you,
Your building inspector.
the building permits are documented that we've got, and they're in there, and if they aren't being done, then you have the problem, and the values are not placed.
Why aren't they being done?
Because the assessors haven't done them.
You got 3 assessors.
Well, that may be, but that ain't been done.
One of the reasons is that the part-time people are putting in a maximum of 20 hours per month. If you take 3 assessors putting in 20 hours a month, that's 60 hours a month. 1 full-time person would be putting in 40 hours a week.
Yeah, but that 1 person a month ought to be able to take care of, out of them 3 people, 1 person, or whether they take turns doing it, ought to be able to take care of the building permits in the town of Granby.
That's not the only thing they got. Don't you know, you're missing the point. There's more to the assessor's office than just the building permits. You have things happening all the time. And you're asking people to be part-time at minimum wage, we'll say.
Less than minimum.
And you're asking a lot. Times have changed. Times have changed, and unfortunately, the impact of that is we are caught with this deficit on money.
Jim, what are the priorities?
Why didn't we increase the money that was being paid for? Say, look, we got $75,000 that's hanging out there on a year-to-year basis, and let's get them caught up. If you got to come in here for, 30 or 40 hours a month, here's the extra dough. You spent $2,000 last month on a personnel policy. What the hell is that?
At least it takes and keeps everything in line so you know where you're going with the next person and that person when you're dealing with them. You know what you're doing with when you take and say, you do this, you don't do this. Right. And you don't have the chance of having some suit.
You realized this problem way back in May. Why didn't you take someone out of contingency and say, look, folks, we're hanging out here. If you need to put some extra hours in, here's some extra pay. You can do that.
You can't change the rate of pay for assessors unless you take and document it and you go at it with the idea that you're going to get something back for it.
Absolutely. There's $75,000 hanging out. That's what's coming back.
Wait a minute, hold it. If you've got 3 elected assessors and all you're going to get is this many hours out of them because they got other things, they're part-timers, they're not full-timers, you got a different situation. They're elected and do what they want. Yes, ma'am.
Is pay the problem or is incompatibility between the assessors the problem? What is the problem?
I'm not into that. I'm not into that. That's not my discussion here is about a sole assessor and why. That's it.
You make some corrective action solutions here.
The town board voted on this September 15th.
What? No. October 9th they took it. October 8th or 9th.
Is the budget in place for 1998?
No, it'll be in place next week.
Okay. Has money been funded?
Yes, ma'am.
For the sole assessor position?
Yeah.
How much?
25.
25,000. So we're not talking a clerk or anything. We're just talking sole assessor.
It's sole assessor.
So in other words, we're going into 1998 underfunded if we go to sole assessor.
No, you won't go in underfunded for the position of sole assessor.
Brenda, that they need a clerk.
They may need that, but no one has approached me about a clerk. In 1998, the board can do that if they want to.
We'll probably have to have a part-time clerk.
Maybe
Definitely.
shared,
Then
maybe
why
a
would
shared
you
person.
try to
So the
get
budget,
this
the
passed?
budget isn't going to truly reflect the needs of the town.
Just
The budget reflects the needs of the town as of, it's right in front of me
Or
now.
the assessor's office, or the appointment,
As it is right now, it is.
as it is right now.
And it's still
Yes, sir.
tentative.
You have listed $25,000 in the budget for the sole assessor. But I see nothing for the 3 assessors in case the sole assessor referendum is defeated.
Okay, that's the dollar amount that's in there for the assessor. If they're defeated, it'll be $11,500, what we got now, whatever the appropriation is.
Now, where does that $25,000 sit?
It
If we
says,
keep the 3 assessors? Do the...
no, the 25,000 in there is a contingency that you're going to hire an assessor. If you don't hire the assessor, single assessor, you're going to have $11,500 that'll be paid out to the assessors as is agreed to now.
Okay, if you're willing to give $25,000 to one, wouldn't it be just as easy to get $25,000 just be split up amongst 3?
Sure, you can do that. You can make it $15,000 a person, make it $45,000 for 3 part-time people and go do the job. The problem is you're not going to get the job done that way.
Well, I question, because Marissa said she worked for $1.98 an hour for many, many hours per week, and she couldn't do it on her own, and she had 2 other people supposedly helping her at the time. Now, how can you take one person with a clerk and do this?
Because it's their job. You got a different situation. You got a different situation. No, you got a different situation.
Timing is a bit...
No, that's right. No. You have,
2 other assessors that were supposed to be there.
but they're only,
They're elected
they
officials.
don't have to be.
Nobody can do anything to those people, except for the election people.
I think you're looking at it all wrong. They're underpaid to begin with. We all agree with that. You're willing to get $25,000 to one, give $25,000 to 3 and let them split it.
And if they don't still perform the job?
If they don't perform the job, the next election, we'll get rid of them.
Well, that's $8,000, what you're telling me, that's $8,000 apiece you're going to pay them now, right?
What are they getting now, 4?
They get
about 12,000.
5 and 3. But the problem I've got, you're saying $8,000 apiece now, and you're going to have part-time assessors, and that's going to take care of them. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
They're going to work twice as much as they are now.
You misunderstand the part-time position.
No, I'm looking at what you're saying here with your own figures.
Yeah, but you're dividing them by 3. The $8,000 per person to work continuously in the town hall is not going to buy you what you need. The people, you're not buying $8,000 worth of services that way. You've got to take...
$1.98 an hour either.
We had the benefit of it. No, we had the benefit of having a very astute, competent person do the work for us for that fee because she was involved and enthused about doing it. Today, if you want to take and do the same job, and you're telling me you're going to take 3 people and give them $8,000 apiece to do the same work, I'm going to tell you, it ain't going to happen. You can't take 3 people and say, I'm going to give you $8,000 and let them take their time because they have other obligations they want to do and so on. $8,000 ain't going to carry it. They won't take care of the car expense for them to drive around and do their thing just to get to work.
Now, why are they doing it for $11,000?
Because they got elected, and that was a dollar amount. Ma'am?
What are the priorities on assessing? What do they do first? What is first?
I don't know. That's another...
What that job contains? What that,
I can tell you what an assessor's supposed to do, if you want to know that. Maintains assessment roll. They have the physical description or inventory or value estimate on every parcel of real property in the municipality. It's kept up to date. The property inventory is available for inspection for appointment before filing the tentative assessment roll. Okay? They have to do the administrative functions, new construction, major improvements in existing structures, and they're transferred to the current inventory cards. They have to keep track of property tax exemptions, senior citizens, veterans, agriculture, and business exemptions are among the most common. They review the transfer of real property in the municipality. And they have to review the kind of transfers, see if they're arm length transfers, and see if the values are correct. I mean,
Well, you know.
I didn't invent this thing. All I'm saying is that they have a lot of work.
I'm just asking, well, now, who does the assessor's book? Who does the books that you turn into the county?
No, the assessors taking a file of the town.
Supervisor always did that. I did that.
Yeah, but they don't do it. We're on a computer now, so what it does is
I
transfer.
understand that, but then it's a lot easier now than it was then too. But you got a computer.
Well,
And plus you
the
have
record.
pictures of everybody's place and everything. And we had 3 assessors before, when my husband was assessor, and we never had these problems.
Oh, you had them, but the point was, okay, that you had them. You were there, I was there.
Oh, yeah.
We had them, you had them.
But we took care of them.
Yeah, oh, you took care of them all right, but we also ended up in 1988 doing a data collection and a reval for $95,000 to bring everything up to par, presumably. Presumably. All I'm saying to you is, you had them. You didn't get too many disruptions. But you understand, if there's anything else I can convey to you, the town board has an obligation to take and look at the situation, make a recommendation, consider that recommendation, have the public hearing, make a decision as to have a referendum or not, and go on with it. The point that I'm making to you is, timing is everything. If you don't do it in 97, you missed 98. So what you get into is the year 2000 before you catch up to this stuff. Believe me, the only reason I can see doing this is trying to get the numbers on the roll to take and support. The gentleman over here has got his farm that he's operating at, and he's going to come in for exemptions. His exemptions are such and such based on the value of his land. The dollar amount he pays after he gets his exemptions are based on the fact that everybody else is paying their fair share, and they're on the rolls. If they're not on the rolls, they're not helping him at all. They're not helping the senior citizen. We have senior citizens out there that you got a $22,000 exemption rate for. Okay? Just the sales tax income, reduce the property taxes. That's a better deal for those senior citizens, and I'll get a lot of argument about this, better deal for a senior citizen than the question whether I qualify for the $22,000 exemption. Because it's immediate. It's done. And that's what you're up against here. You have the town board that's looked at the problem. They feel comfortable with the fact that this is a reasonable way to do it. The town board in 1998 shall make the decision of who the person will be. They will take and use the criteria the state has. There's nothing mystic about that. They will have to determine what the salary will be. They will have to determine what the supportive action will be. But more important than that is they have a chance to get on the rolls for the 1999 tax bill, so we can support people in a different way than this.
Well, I requested the January 1, date of hire. That's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
You may say that, but you can have that.
Pardon?
You can have that. You can have that.
Looks like we're throwing the film.
No, he's going to have a chance, and whoever's there going to have a chance to interview and make a decision before the 1st.
Well, I don't know if we get
Before the 1st.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This hearing that we're having tonight, regardless, we're going to have a vote the 22nd, correct?
Correct.
Regardless of what we think out here at the public. Did any of the town board members take 5 minutes and talk to the public out there? Because if you honestly believe this is a solution to our problem, I just think take all your money in the bank, saying you can't sell it.
Well, it may not.
You can't sell it.
That
Then
may
if you
not.
honestly believe, why not back off and try to sell the package before we bring it to a vote?
No. You have to take a look at the options you have. You have to look at the options.
It won't fly. If you don't have the people here selling this for you, you can't win.
Mrs. Leopard,
If people aren't selling it, then they're the losers.
Mrs. Leopard,
Because I, as a
do we need a sole assessor?
Selling the way you're presenting
Do we need a
it,
sole
it'll
assessor?
fight you, so it's not going to fly.
But aren't you
And I believe it.
So, but I think we should.
And I believe it.
aren't you concerned though?
Well, we got too many people talking.
Okay.
Should be told before they take the job.
But
It's not their fault.
but the point I'm trying to make is, the debate here is whether it's going to pass or not. That's not a concern of my mind right now. My concern right this moment is this is the option that you should take and consider to resolve the problem, to get the 1999 rolls. If you don't do it, so be it.
Jim, I agree with you, but you should have let Mr. Ferdy speak, or her, what?
If 3 assessors can't find the new properties, how is it going to work?
No, it didn't find them. The new properties are there. They're there. They're there.
The point I'm trying to make is we can talk and debate this all night long, and it really doesn't matter. What matters is the 22nd of December.
You
Yes,
people
sir.
We'll
don't,
debate this all night long.
Yeah.
What's really going to make the decision is the 22nd of
That's
December.
right, that's
That's
right.
not
Not when they should have a vote either.
That's what I'm saying to you.
I think you ought to change that date too.
That's what I'm saying.
If the properties are there, and you know it, and you know about it, why hasn't something been done?
I brought it in,
It has been done.
I brought 4 new homes up in Willowbob in.
Don't bring up names.
No names, and I gave them to Mr. Best. 4 brand new homes. Nothing's been done.
I'm not the assessor.
Say it's not the assessor.
Well, you're,
Can I, Morris?
Yeah, I'd just like to make one point here. I think Pat's brought a valid point, is informing and educating the public, which I think is necessary. And the other process, I think, also, is the building permit process. The building inspector, we have properties. The other day here, I was on campaigning, and I run across people building homes with no permit. And I'm wondering if this is a twofold situation. As Don has said, there's changes with your building inspector going on, from what I understand right now, possibly. Is there any possible way you people are just going by what the building inspect permits coming in? That's one of your biggest sources of taxing the people. But if the permits are not coming in, or the permits are not being done on remodeling cases and so on like that, is this a twofold situation that we've got?
It's a total problem you have, and the problem evolves out of the fact that you have part-time. We just changed the position of building inspector. The idea there, we're get more competency on that and take care of these problems we're finding out there. And this thing here is saying, okay, we'll get somebody that's going to be working at it full-time, that's his job, and that will take and possibly resolve the problem. There's no solution to it other than the fact you've got certain rules you can follow to get to a point that you can manage it. And you've got to manage it. If you don't manage it, then we're going to be in desperate need because people are going to challenge their values. And when they challenge their values and they go down, our equalization rate gets killed. We can't afford that.
I agree, Jim.
Okay, so,
I think this board needs to sell this to the public.
well, that's part of the package.
And on December 22nd is Christmas week. I mean, you couldn't ask for a quarter.
The point of this is the closest we can get between, we have to have 60 days and we have to have 75 days. You've got to have time enough, please, just a moment, let me tell you. You've got to have the time to get the thing so you can be into the 1st of January. If you can get that purchase the 1st of January, you got a person flying, you're ready to go. If you do something the 15th of February, you're going to be in trouble because you got guys here doing their work and all of a sudden things are going to be chaotic. You can't have that kind of thing.
Well, that's certainly something to consider, right, Jim?
If you had everybody here tonight selling it, you couldn't sell it in 2 months. That's what I'm trying to say.
The issue,
That's my opinion. It can't
that can be your opinion.
Why do you want to keep cramming it down their throat in 2 months?
It's
Jim, you're
not,
saying
it's,
so critical
believe.
to get it done the first of the year. If you don't get it voted on and voted yay, you're not accomplishing.
Then that's the townspeople's action. That's what this is about. The town people have a right to take and make a decision on that.
It's not that much different now than it was last year.
Well, I know that. I'm not counting on you making a mistake.
This is
You're going to take and do whatever you think you want to do.
Mary Kelly back there started off her comments this evening by saying that this has been going on for 20 years. Now, are we talking another 20 years?
no,
You are, if you don't sell it, it can't be sold in 2 months. If you don't sell it, Bob, it's going to be going on, if you honestly believe it.
What do we need to do?
We'll get you, Mary.
To present the facts so that it's understandable?
You need about a year.
No.
You need a good year to sell it. If you don't believe it, then just let it go on the 22nd, you'll see.
Well, that's a privilege.
You're right
That's a
again,
privilege.
Pat.
That's a privilege.
Remember those?
I don't know if that's true or not. Can I,
Sell something that can't be
Mary
Mary,
Kelly.
did you want to say something, Mary?
I wanted to ask if there's going to be absentee ballots for this referendum.
We'll take and I'll make sure if we can organize absentee ballots, you'll have them.
Because there's going to be a lot
Sure.
of people that are south that time of year.
We have people, do you understand, we have people that don't live in the town of Granby, don't land in the town of Granby.
Oh, I know.
Okay, and they don't have a vote on this, as far as I know. So what I'm looking at is, we're going to try to include everybody we can do, but I'm not sure exactly all the things that go with that part yet.
I just would like to make one other comment on the reevaluation that you talked about back in 1989.
Yeah, 1990, yeah.
My property, where my buildings were built in 1800s, and according to Honeycutt or whatever They were built in 1948. So how is that?
Not very good, Kelly. He must have kept them up pretty good. That's,
I mean, I said to the gentleman when I came up and talked to him, I said, you ever heard of an ice house? I said, that building that's this side of the road was an ice house. I said, I don't think they had ice houses in 1948.
they were good fun to go into, though.
Oh, yeah, it was nice to have.
In the summertime. Anybody else have anything else to bring up? Yes, ma'am.
Jim, how much is this rec revolt going to cost us in December?
Well, probably be in the neighborhood of $300 to $500. The point, I think maybe the critical thing that I see here, and anybody wants to take and shoot it down any way they want to, the critical thing here is timing. And believe me, I would not do anything to take and do anything to create a problem for the town. The timing gets you into the next cycle of value, and that's critical. Okay, anybody else have anything before we proceed to close this hearing? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make one final comment.
Yeah.
That I think that the newly elected town board can work with the 3 elected assessors to meet the deadline of March 1 to correct a major loss of tax dollars in this town that has taken place for over the last 3 to 5 years. And I would respectfully request of the existing town board to give us the opportunity either to succeed or fail, and then take another look at sole assessment. On a least cost basis for this town to do business, I think it's imperative that we have that opportunity. Thank you.
I got a question for him, Jim.
Okay, go ahead.
So the way I understand, reading between the lines, Don, is that you'd like the town board to more or less drop this idea of having an election in December 27th.
Yes, because it puts the new board members, the new board, in a very precarious position. First of all, December 22nd is not the time to ask people to go out and vote. Okay? Number 2, if you say that the position is going to be filled by January 1st, 1998, I believe the law says it has to be filled within 45 days of the adopted law. I respectfully request those 45 days be built into that local law. Just out of common courtesy to the new board.
The new members of the board.
And I'm hearing comments from the public here that in other words, the majority of people are here, which is about 25 or 30, feel that we shouldn't go ahead with this?
You're sitting here saying that you're willing to take and sacrifice $150,000.
I do, because I feel you can't do it.
Well, that's okay. It's a public hearing. I'm hearing what you're saying. Okay. Anybody else, any other comment before you close?
Did you want to say something now?
I just wondered who would be in charge of the sole assessor, so we've got
Pardon?
had a problem with 3 so far. You keep telling, I keep hearing, is somebody going to be in charge of making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing?
They're responsible. These people, this person is responsible to town board. The assessor, the elected assessor, is not responsible to town board.
The person's accountable to the town board.
Okay, and then that all discussion.
Any other questions, I believe, or
I'll
comments?
take and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Can I have a second to it?
Second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on it? No discussion? All in favor of closing the public hearing? Okay, let's take a, can I have a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
10-minute break? Agree for a 10-minute break?
I gotta go to the bathroom anyway.
We're not closed for meeting yet.
No, I don't want to go moving. Okay, I was just going to jump on the other side, but go ahead.
Please, can I have it? Please, can I have it? Quiet, please. We'll open the board meeting. We'll open the board meeting again.
Do what?
We're opening the board meeting again. We had a special meeting here, we're called, in the work session. We just closed the work session, and we're going to take and discuss the resolution on the
Oh, we didn't have a work session, we have a budget,
Well, we
we're
had
going to discuss this.
Yeah, but this year you're going to vote on it, whether you do it, because you only got 60 days. You got less than 60 days. You got December 22nd, today's the 20th.
We voted on the resolution.
You voted on the public, they have the public hearing, okay?
Just for the hearing, I guess.
All right, now you got to take and vote on the local, if they can have the special election.
I need a little clarification on that. And
October 20th at 7 o'clock, we had the public hearing.
And that's what the resolution was,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep. And the term of office will commence, and you got the local law that's subject to mandatory referendum. I guess we're all set, because we've got it in the local law, that's what the referendum is for.
so there's no voting here necessary.
Well, I'm concerned about that.
we
You only got 60 days to do this then. Got to have it if you're going to do it by the 22nd, you got to do it.
We had a public hearing, we had public comments now, so why wouldn't we address these public comments?
That's what we're doing. That's what I'm saying. You got to take and talk to the fact that you want it. You had the public hearing on the mandatory referendum, and now the subject is to take and either approve or reject a mandatory referendum on December 22nd.
Let me get my glasses off.
Because all this do is get you a public hearing.
I think that's what this was, that's the way I understood it at the time.
Says the public proposal, receiving public comment on the proposed law, local law 4, and that's what that is. And now you've got to take, and you've had the public hearing, or public comment, now you want to take and vote on the installation of it.
Proposed, didn't we vote on it then? Before we had the hearing, we vote on it?
We've got to vote now.
Says, the town board of Granby, New York does hereby agree to schedule public or person receiving public comment on the proposed town of Granby local law number 4, the tax pertaining to the establishment of sole appointed assessor beginning January 1, 1998. The public hearing shall be the 20th, and it's done.
Right.
Now, we have to take and vote on the fact that you want to do the local law after public comment.
Right, you see, we have public comment, now we're supposed to discuss these public comments and see what you still see, how we all feel about it.
Yeah.
At least that's the...
So I'll take and entertain discussion on the local law for referendum on December 22nd. Does anybody have any comments to make?
Can I see that?
I have a comment.
Wait a minute, Chief Kitchens on, he wants to say, look at something. Oh, keep your phone, don't touch that. Okay, Bob? Okay, he's rereading it. So we want to have a hearing, we're supposed to discuss comments on it.
Who says any comments? That's right.
Okay, Bob, Rose is going to start off making a comment.
I still don't know what the comments are. The resolution has been passed, signed.
Resolution public hearing on the public hearing on the mandatory referendum.
No.
This business for itself.
Take more votes. A vote for a vote for a vote.
What would be the object of having a public hearing?
Would you take, we're going to meet on Wednesday, the 22nd, right?
Can we discuss this?
Let's find out.
We got a work session.
We got a schedule. Let's take and adjourn this meeting until the 22nd, and we'll get counsel.
Okay.
Okay?
Find out if we need another vote, is that what you're saying?
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I want to see what day we got this work session.
22nd.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Oh, no, we got a budget hearing on the 20th, we got no work session.
No, we're working. That'll be we'll adjourn this meeting to the 22nd, 10 o'clock, and then we'll discuss it because I have the attorney give us the word on it between now and then, okay?
We're supposed to work on the budget tonight, we had a
Yeah,
work
we're going
session
to do that.
scheduled for the
Yeah,
28th.
we're going to do that, too. We're going to work on the budget after this, but we got to adjourn this meeting to get us to this time, okay?
So what you're saying to me now,
I need an
on Wednesday,
adjournment.
you're going to make a
Yeah.
work session on top of that.
Adjourn this meeting until
You're not going to discuss it?
22nd. Not right now, we'll do it at the session.
Why did you ask?
Well, I'm going to do it, but I want to make sure I got that.
Discuss it.
Well,
If
first of all, I
there's any
got to find
comments
out.
from the board in regards to the comments made by the general public here.
You should discuss it because the public's here.
Oh, if you want to discuss it, I have no problem with it. In fact, we won't act on it until the 22nd.
When are you going to vote on this?
22nd.
Why not do it tonight?
because I've got a concern here, and I need the town council's opinion.
Well, I'd like to give my opinion if I
Go ahead,
may.
give
One
it.
thing tonight.
Yeah?
I want this to fly for a sole assessor. I want it to fly. I think we're doing it too fast. I really think we're pushing it down Don's throat.
Whose throat?
I do. I'm going to be on that board, and I want this next board to work better than I've been working with this one. And I think you're pushing it down too fast, and you better listen to the people if they want it or don't want it, and let's take our time on it. That's.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I think there's some good points there, but I wish that people would start looking at the town of Granby instead of individuals. Every time an issue is brought up around here, it's either Jim or Don or Pete or Frank, and nobody is really concerned with the overall town. One of the issues here is that December 22nd date, and the comments made, I think, are legitimate. It certainly is close to the Christmas season and takes away from the holiday spirits. If that date can be changed to a reasonable time after that, I would certainly support that.
All right.
Can it be changed, Jim? Do you know?
Yeah, you got between 60 and 75 days, and the problem you got is
When would be that it's got to be within 60?
between 60 and 75 days. But I'll need to talk with council tomorrow and get some handle on this thing.
Even if we run into the middle of January, that still gives...
No, but you're still you're imposing it on the board that's coming up, okay?
Yeah, but he was thinking of making it coming up in January rather than now, right?
Let's take and have council tell us what our numbers are. That's what, I gotta have council tell me.
I don't know, hearing what these people said out here tonight, I want this to fly too, because I know we've had a problem definitely since May, back when Brenda, and I'm not trying to wave a flag for her, back when she was working almost full-time there, like she made a statement tonight, the most that she ran behind on permits was maybe 10. And as to both assessors, I don't know if they're both here or not, there's a lot of work that goes into the ag exemption, the senior citizens exemption. There's tons and tons of paperwork over there, plus all the things that they have to get out and do. But the amount of people here, 25 to 30 people, my own feeling is that they don't seem to want it at this time. So I guess when we get into a work session, we'll have to discuss it some more and see how it goes. And that's my only comment for now.
Anybody else?
The thing I like about it, if they had an appointed assessor, they'd be accountable to the town board, whoever's the town board, where now the only accountability is every 4 years to the voters. And
Well, it's due to come one day, but not jump into it overnight.
The only thing I would tell you is that from a standpoint of being responsible and seeing the situation we have and knowing the time factor you need to get your dollars on the books, it would make sense to take and move as fast as you can so you can make the deadline of taxable status date of March 1998. You have to take it, if you're going to have any impact in 1999, you have to do it real soon. So that's where I'm at. So after that discussion, we adjourn this to the
I'd like to...
22nd?
Yeah, but I'd like to have you, Jim, schedule a meeting with the three assessors if possible in the near, sometime in the near week or so, and get an updated status on where everything is as of this point.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting to the 22nd of October at 10 o'clock?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a second?
So October 22nd at 10 o'clock.
Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None opposed. I entertain a motion to close.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a second?
Thank you, everybody. You're all for coming.
Got a motion made and seconded to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None opposed, Madam Clerk. Okay, now we'll go to budget.
I was a few minutes late getting in, and I was wondering, did you really, how many statistics?
Oh,
you read off, or did you just read off from that? I mean, because I have that sheet, I got one of those. But what is the 250,000 versus the 75,000 figures that you're talking about? No, why did we have this second motion?
I'm taking an average of the values of these houses
For now, anyway, so for 10.
In other words, the number of houses.
Wasn't that opposing it? You adjourned it.
Who's that? Rosie? Hey, Rose, we're gonna work on the budget.